everyone. Back with me, Yohana Sabatia from Dun 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 X IPA. And today I'll be showing you guys oop, and how well the title for today is Believe in God. This is just how my experience believing in God now. To believe in God is to believe in something that you can't see, to believe in something that you can't touch, and to believe in something you can't hear. So basically, believing in nothing? Well, not exactly. Jika kita telusuri dari awal, sebenarnya hidup manusia hanya itu-itu saja. Well, Adam dan Hawa, getting married, having kids, again and again. I mean, the cycle continues because it's life. We were born, we grow up, and we reproduce. Something quite boring and very systematic, as I like to say it. But in the life of a regular human being, maybe dull, gray, and colorless life, filled with sorrow, envy, hatred, gluttony, and greed, it's something that us as Christians shouldn't feel, but we end up feeling that way. Well, it's not normal, okay? If you believe in God, then your life shouldn't be as colorless, as gray, or as dull. Because my experience is that life isn't what we expect. We expect if we follow God, we will have a smooth road, but in contrary, if we follow God, we will have an even rough and bumpy road than we already have. Well, because since it was said, Jesus plainly pointed out these two roads. One is broad, lacking faith, convictions, morals, and obedience to God. It's the easy, popular, and careless way. It is heavily traveled, but it leads to destruction, while the other road is narrow and very, very unpopular. This is why Jesus said, enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. Because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. Matthew 7, verse 13 to 14. I can say that the life we choose is not an easy one, since, of course, I experienced it myself. For my life story in the road to believe in God is something so hard to the point that I almost gave up. You heard that right. I almost gave up. I was brought up in a very religious family. I grew up with my mom's Islamic family and my dad's Christian family. It's an understatement to say that I wasn't from a religious family because, Islamic mom, Christian dad family thing. I learned many things from both sides of my family. They taught me kindness. They taught me to believe in myself and to believe in God. They were supportive, and I felt that I was loved. I was cared for. I was special. I grew up being spoiled with love and getting everything I ever wanted. I was really lucky since not many people grew up in a loving family. I always thought I knew God when I was a kid. I read the Bible, I pray, I preach, I worshiped, but it seems that it was only an act since deep inside I was lying. I wasn't this sweet angel. I was merely a witch that always do bad things. I wasn't really I was a really optimistic kid, but because I wasn't close with God, I often gave up. Like when I was in seventh grade. Oh, seventh grade to eighth grade was a very memorable year. I was a bad, troublesome kid, one that keeps making trouble. I was lost. I felt hopeless. I was fighting myself, my emotions, my feelings. It felt like the whole world is against me. It felt as if they were all my enemy. I didn't have any true friends, well, or so I thought. I was too blinded to see that my true friends are right there. I was blinded by the world. I fell into its beautiful trap, like an insect in a fly trap. I was waiting for death. I was depressed. I was dying. I couldn't feel. It felt hard to breathe. It sucked more than everything I imagined. I was just hoping I was hoping that someone would help me get out of this mess. Then someone came. He grabbed me and held me tightly with a warm smile. I felt his presence. I didn't see him. I didn't hear nor saw him, but I felt him. I felt his presence. In my life, when I was at one of my lowest points, I felt his presence. When I thought I had no friends, when I thought no one cared for me, but he was there for me. He was my friend. He was my family. He loved me regardless of my flaws. I began changing. I started being more serious in my religious belief, my mind and faith. I began filtering who I hang out with, and I found someone that helped me get closer to God. It was an extraordinary feeling, a fresh feel. Everything you do, you would be happy, joyful, and feel full of yourself. Believe me, when you stay in God's presence, you can be very happy by just living. Believe me, again, believe me, when you stay in God's presence, you can be very, very, very happy by just living your life and be who you are. Everything you do, you would be happy, joyful, and feel full of yourself. When I was feeling his warmth, everything seemed so easy since he was with me. He helped me. He walked me through the storms. He was with me in the pain, in the saddest part of my life, though it isn't that easy guarding my chastity and my faith when I went to ECHS for the first time. True, it was a good change, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for this big, huge change. Then I started losing my grip in God. I slowly letting go of God's hand. I was beginning to walk the other people's path, the bigger path. And then I started to not believe. Well, I started to question God's existence. And when I think more and more about it, more I feel that God doesn't exist, at least in my life. I didn't have anyone to turn to in this moment. I kept falling and falling. I went deeper in the rabbit hole. I lost my faith. I felt nothingness. I felt everything that I worked for meant nothing at all at that moment. Just darkness and emptiness. I was so absorbed. I was so sad. I didn't know what to do as time went by. I didn't have anyone who I could talk to. I was really stressed out and it was really unbearable. But when I heard this one pastor preach, it was life changing. He explained to us how to believe. Then, even though there was only a little faith left, I started to regain my faith, something that I worked so hard before. I'm still trying, and even though I'm not the perfect man of God, I know that I want to be the perfect child of God. And yeah, this is my story after all, and it's filled with many trials and error. But because of that trial and errors, I could grow closer to Him, to God. And yeah, it may be hard, but we're in this together. So never forget that you're not going through this alone. You have me, your friends, your brother, your sister, your family, your teacher. There's a lot of people that love you. I love you. And He loves you. The end. Thank you.